rivers. So it's been very effective in actually making the government do the right thing. And now we are all here just to coordinate on as to why the river project may not be the right thing for our city. So now start.
Switch off the phones or
All of you.
We're going to be recording the session as well, just so you know. Can you disclose that?
I think we should keep it this way so that we face him, and we'll ask him to move back a bit.
Okay.
Sarang, video is here. Thoda maage jana. That's fine. Otherwise, you know, they always.
Otherwise, I will take that one.
Okay.
I hope it is okay. So, good evening, everybody. I suppose most of you are staying very close to the rivers of Pune. And Pune Corporation has proposed a very ambitious project of riverfront development. All of you must have heard about it. The estimated price as of now is around 5,000 crore rupees. 5,000 crore rupees is not a big question. The question is the merits of this project, how they are planning to implement this project and what are going to be the impacts of this project. So we are going to discuss it. Some of my friends with whom we are working together, Gurudas, Nulkar, also with me today. Basically, before going into the details of the project, I want to share a few things. That Pune basically is a highly flood-prone. What you see right here is Mula River. That's one river that is taking the water away from the city towards Ujni Dam. But there are 5 rivers that are feeding this river: Mula, Mutha, Paula, Ram Nadi, and Ten. So the water is coming from 5 different catchments, whereas it has only one outlet. That is Mula. There are 7 dams on the upstream. All these dams are very close to each other. On Mutha River, it's Yadwadkar, Anshik, Varaslav, Temgar, then Pauna, Urshi on the other river, and one small dam that is Sarang. So these dams are not really far away from the city. Hardly Yadwadkar dam is 7-8 kilometers from the city. And if you are flying from Pune to Mumbai, if you look at towards your left, you can see 2-3 dams in one. So imagine if water is released from these dams, it will hit that flood will hit the city within minutes. So that is the situation. In addition to that, to exacerbate the situation, the topography of the city is saucer shaped. I mean, when it rains,
Please continue. To fix it. And you are audible. You are audible in the back.
So when it rains, the water gushes towards the center of the city from all directions that we have seen. So on the background of all these characters, it is very well known that Pune is a highly flood-prone city. In addition to that, I also want to highlight the temperament of the rivers. As we all humans have different temperaments, some are hot tempered, some are cool tempered. Similarly, all these water bodies also have their own temperament. Some rivers are hot tempered, some rivers are, or even streams are very cool. Unfortunately, all water bodies, dynamic water bodies, flowing water bodies in Pune city are extremely hot tempered. As our temperament is decided by the you know, how we are taught and the temperament of the rivers and streams is decided by their catchment area. As the catchment areas of all our streams and rivers is very steep, it originates from the hilly terrain. The water gushes down, so the storm water gushes down to the rivers very fast. The flood levels rise very quickly, and within minutes or minutes, at the most 3 4 hours, everything gets over. We have seen it in 2019, stream Ambiloda. Hardly total length of that stream is around 10 11 kilometers, not more than that. It's a stream, the tributary of Nulkar River. And the floods of Ambiloda, because of that, some 25 26 citizens lost their life in 2019. So the horrific flash flood. Same thing happened in 2011 with Ram Nadi also. Within 3 4 hours, everything was over. So the temperament of the rivers is very hard. We must consider all these things before finalizing or before planning any project that is related to the river. Now, let us go to this riverfront development. We are going to present before you most 99% the data. It's a data-based presentation, so you have to be a little patient. We are going to present the data that is mentioned, that is given in the detailed project report of this project, prepared by the consultant, approved by Pune Municipal Corporation. Before again going into the data of it, let us see the objectives, what they have mentioned. The objectives they have stated in their detailed project report are reduce risk of flooding, clean the river, clean the river and make it pollution free, retain and replenish water, create a continuous public health along the river, conserve and enhance heritage structures. These are the basic aims that are mentioned in the DPR with the same sequence. I will not even change the sequence. Now let us see what is the present status of the rivers as far as pollution is concerned, because we all know that the rivers are really stinking. Horrible thing. Most polluted rivers in the country that we have right now. Current water supply to the city from irrigation department, from various dams, it is 13-15 MLD, that is million liters per day. That much water we get, the city gets from irrigation department. Groundwater extraction, as per our estimates, is 310 ml daily. So total water consumption is 1,660 ml. As per CPCB norms, 80% of the consumption gets converted into sewage. 80% of the consumption. So our daily sewage generation is 1,328 ml. Present sewage treatment capacity of all SCTs of corporation is 507 ml. There is a new project which is financed by JICA. In that project, they are coming up with some 10 11 new SCTs which are having total capacity of 396 ml. So in next say 5 years, our treatment capacity will be 507 plus 396, that is 903 ml. Whereas as of now, we are generating 1328 ml. So minimum deficit even after completion of JICA and this riverfront development project is going to be 425 million liters of raw sewage entering into the rivers daily. So whatever is this project, let us not go into the details of it. But whatever water will be there, it will not be water, it will be raw sewage. And can you imagine what are the impacts of this sewage on the downstream side people, particularly the people who are living on the downstream side on Ujni Dam. There is only one species of fish that is surviving, that is chilapi. That's the only fish, that's not a native fish, but that's the only fish which can survive practically on very low dissolved oxygen levels. The fishermen are having extremely acute skin disorders. The water is not even usable for agricultural purpose. The cattle is having multiple physical disorders, even human beings. That area is now known as kidney stone belt. They are having multiple digestive system disorders, and percentage of impotency is also increasing in that. Not only in human beings, but in cattle also. And we are responsible. We the people of Pune and Pune, because we are discharging raw sewage and industrial effluent without proper treatment into this system. So now, what are going to be the impacts of riverfront development? Let us go through the impacts quickly. In spite of RIT, as I have told you, the rivers are going to remain highly polluted. It is going to cause massive disruption in the traffic of the city, and of course, it will lead to rise in air pollution. Impacts of climate change are not considered anywhere in this project. Fabricated and completely fraudulent hydraulic study. Steep rise in flood levels within the city. Flawed environmental clearance that has been accorded to this project by central government. Depletion of groundwater table. Irreversible destruction of biodiversity. Gurudas will talk about particularly on groundwater and biodiversity. Floodlines have been illegally shifted to accommodate this project. The river lands inside floodlines are going to be monetized, and public lands along the river are going to be monetized to support this project financially. So let us go to the first part, city traffic disruption. This is Mutha River, this is Lakdi, okay, and this is Karve. The river flows in this direction. So now there is one road which is called as river bed. There is a small bridge. This is called as Baba Bridge. And in the morning, the people from Kothur side go towards the city for their job. Thousands of citizens, particularly on two-wheelers, travel from here to here. It's around 3 kilometers within say 5-10 minutes. There is not a single signal on this road. This is a riverbed road. Now it's a different issue whether a road should be there in the river or not. That's a different issue altogether. Let us not go into that. But as of now, that road exists. And in the evening, thousands of people return by the same. Now, in this project, it is never communicated by PMC in their so-called public consultation meetings that this road and the bridge is going to be demolished. So what will happen? All these people will have to travel by these roads which are parallel to the river. This is completely congested area. These are Petha, Narayanpet, Shaniwarpet, all that area is here. And that will cause huge traffic disruption and air pollution in the morning as well as in the evening. Right in the city, right in the heart of the city. Not only that, totally 4 bridges are going to be dismantled for this project. 2 bridges on Nulkar River and
Because you are close to this,
Yeah,
I can move
back on bridge people. Okay.
people to be ahead of us.
Yeah,
Just put it a bit. Fine. Is that okay? Yeah.
See, if you come in front of the speaker, it will give feedback if you are
Okay, fine. Thank you. Sorry, thank you. Yeah. So, totally 4 bridges are going to be dismantled for this project. Baba Bide, one causeway, Pakad Bridge, and one some Shakuntala Shinde Bridge. I don't know if they are not admitted. but 4 bridges are going to be dismantled and 7 bridges are going to be raised. 7 bridges are to be elevated where they are. It is not mentioned anywhere in the DPR how they are going to raise the bridges. Whether it is possible, which technology will be used, and how the traffic will be disturbed while elevating the bridges. See, these are not, bridges. I mean, the really very heavy traffic is there on all these bridges. Let us take only one example, Tilak Bridge. Now, see, this is from their DPR. All these tables are from their DPR. The bottom of the bridge, Tilak Bridge, this is Tilak Bridge. Bottom of that bridge is 545.98 meters. All these levels are given above mean sea level. So 545.90 and say 546 meters. That is the level of the bottom of the bridge. And they have given water surface elevation, level of the water of 100 years flood. That is given as 547.93. Say 548 meters approximately. So the difference between these two, 546 and 548, is 2 meters. So if you don't want this bridge to cause any impediment to the natural flow of water, you have to raise it by minimum 2 meters. 548 minus 546. Otherwise, it will not serve any purpose. These are the figures mentioned in the DPR. Now, all of you must have seen. This is the road behind PS, and this is Church Bridge. This bridge is not away from this bridge, this road. And it is exactly the bridge starts at the edge of the road itself. This is river. This is river, part of the river bed. Now, if you elevate this bridge by 2 meters, how the vehicles will approach or exit from this bridge? That bridge will be 2 meters above the road. Then are they going to provide the steps for the vehicles? It's very simple, nothing very complicated, but they are planning to do it. Anyway, let us go ahead. Now, let us talk about climate change. It's a key word. In 2009, central government directed all state governments to prepare a report, study the impact of climate change in their own state, and to prepare a report on how they are going to mitigate it. Maharashtra government gave that work to TERI, by Pachori, these organizations. In 2010, they conducted a detailed survey study and came up with a report, very good detailed report, and filed it to the state government in 2014. This is that report. In that report, they have divided the state into 6 divisions. Maharashtra is a pretty huge state. So they have divided the state in 6 divisions. Let us say only what they have stated about Pune. In Pune, they have stated that projected increase in monsoon rainfall is from up to 37.5%. So annual rainfall is going to increase by 37.5%. In fact, this is far more accelerated actually than what they have predicted. And not only this, but they also have stated in their report that on one side, annual rainfall will rise, but rainy days are going to be less. It means there will be much more frequent occurrences of cloudbursts, and which we are experiencing. I mean, there is no need to prove it. This is not considered anywhere in this. They have not even mentioned TERI report in this point. In this report, they also have stated key recommendations for water resources sector, conservation and renaturalization of rivers and water bodies. These are the directions given by TERI. Then retain and conserve the riparian zones and renaturalize existing wetlands. Renaturalize existing wetlands. Enhance native vegetation. Formulate stringent policies to prevent the dumping of debris and waste in these zones. I mean, on floodplains and wetlands. But this project is exactly opposite of this. They are dumping massive debris, massive, unimaginable volume of debris right on the river and constructing embankments and channelizing the river, reducing the width of the river. Let us see on the other. Even there are three important parts of this detailed project report. Actually, DPR is a few thousand pages, but these are the key sections of the DPR. Main report, detailed project report, main report. Then these two are the hydraulic part of it. And in these 791 pages, these two words, climate change, are not even mentioned once. Not even once. Now, let us go to the fabricated and fraudulent hydraulic study. This hydraulic study means it is going to decide the flood levels. It is going to decide who is going to get submerged, inundated, and who is not. Now, in their annexure, here, output of Mula River, output of Mula River up to Sangam from Negras for flood discharge of 100 years. So, for a flood discharge of 100 years, Mula River water surface level near confluence, just before confluence, okay, just before confluence, in the given circumstances, with the natural river bed as it is, they have said that water surface elevation is 544.32. Thereafter, after completion of this project, after channelization of the river, they also have worked out the water surface level. That is correct. What will be the water surface levels for the same flood after completion of this project? Here they have mentioned 544.85. Now, earlier level is 544.32, and after completion of this project, the water surface level is rising by 1.53 meters, that is 5 feet, and we are paying 5,000 crores for this rise in flood levels. These are not my figures; these are the figures directly from their DPR. This is the beginning. Now, see, it is simple that when some water is released from the dam, that quantity of water is going to decide the level of flood. But not only that, the rainfall in the free catchment area, that is your city and the dam, on the downstream of the dam and on the upstream of your city, Pune city, whatever rainfall occurs, all that surface runoff also increase the level of water in the river. That gets added to the discharge from the dam. So you have to add this flow from the free catchment area. Now this flow from free catchment is not considered while computing the water flood levels, and that is a huge error. That is a huge error. See, in Mutha River particularly, that is the main river that flows through the city, the core city. The volume of water they have considered, this is the first reading of Mutha River. The volume of water they have considered is 2835 cubics. That is 2,835 cubic meters per second. It's a huge volume. 2,000, that is almost, you can say, 284 tankers of water per second. That is the discharge capacity of Yadwadkar. And this is the last reading near confluence. They have taken the same. Now, in between, there are so many streams. Even Ambiloda brings in around 700 cubics. It has that capacity. There are innumerable other streams also which bring in water, and in fact, as per our calculations, we are right now working on that. The flow from free catchment area is actually more than the discharge capacity of the dam. That is why every time their flood calculations go haywire. That is not considered anything. This is Muthari within the corporation limits. It flows in this direction. This is confluence with Murari. And all these blue lines are the streams. They pour in water in Muthari. And all this water from these catchments, few hundred square kilometers, is not considered. Now, what is the law as far as this flow is concerned? This is a circular by Water Resources Department. It says for demarcation of restrictive zone, flood to be considered in the restrictive zones means red line. To identify the red line, how the flood is to be considered. For river with dams, which is applicable to us, spillway design flood plus 100 years return period flood from free catchment area below dam up to point of strength. So they have very categorically mentioned that we have to consider this flow from free catchment area, which is not considered at all. But do you think that this data is not available? Is there? No. That flow is given in the DPR. That is given as, see, flood discharge of balance catchment after deducting dam catchment for 100-year return period. This is 993 say was further cumex. This is too much on conservative side. But whatever it is, they have it. They have this data. But the project is designed only for 2,830. So this almost 1,000 cumex, 100 tankers of water per second. This flow is not considered by designing this. And it has got all permissions. Our corporation people, engineers, our commissionaries and architects. Nobody has even bothered to go into this game. Now, let us see some flood levels. This is just near confluence. Near confluence, just before confluence, the surface level of Mutha will be 543.94 meters. That of Mula will be 544.32 meters. And after confluence, when these two rivers meet and Mula Mutha river starts, the water level is going to be 546.7. This is above mean sea level. Do you observe any incongruency in this? Let us come to that. Now, these are the figures I have shown you are the figures as of now. As of now, without channelization. And after channelization, these will be the water surface levels. As stated in the DPR by corporation. Now see, Mutha river flood level for the same flood 100-year frequency is going to rise by 16 centimeters. Okay, as per their own record. Let us see whether it is correct or not. We'll see it later. Mula river will flow at 545.85 meters, means 1.53 meters, that is 5 feet above the existing flood. 5 feet above, flood level will rise by 5 feet. And Mula Mutha river, after confluence, the flood level will go down by 5 centimeters, that is 2 inches. So, for a rise of 16 centimeters in Mutha river, 5 feet in Mula river, and reduced flood level by 2 inches in Mula Mutha river, we are going to pay minimum 5,000. You have to decide whether it is acceptable to us. Now, see, let us directly go into this. So, you tell me one thing. Confluence, so there are 3 branches. From 2 directions, water is coming and it's moving downwards, downstream side. In Mula river. Now, Mula river is flowing in at 1.75 meters above Mutha River. And Mula Mutha River is at 546.65 means 2.55 meters, that is 8.5 feet above the level of Mutha. Now, have you seen any time in your life at any confluence a water level difference by 8.5 feet at the same location, and the water is climbing up naturally from 544.10 to 546.65 meters on the upstream side. I mean, the Mutha River will flow from upstream, then the water will climb up by 8.5 feet, and then it will flow to Ulli Dam. How is it possible? I mean, this is stupid. We are not paying salaries of our corporation staff to approve this. And MOEF has given approval to this without thinking, without bothering for the safety of the citizens. And this is squarely unacceptable. Say this is Mutha River flows like this. This is Mula River, and after confluence, this is Mula Mutha River. This is night island. Okay. Now Mutha is at 544.1, Mula is 2.55 meters above 546.65, and Mula is 545.85. That's what we have seen. Forget about Mula. Let us look only at Mutha. This is the longitudinal section they have given in their portfolio of funds. In their longitudinal section, Mutha River flows like this. And suddenly the water climbs up here by 8.5 feet, and then again it starts flowing up. This is the longitudinal section. This is the drawing they have given in their drawing portfolio, which is approved by everyone. Actually, if this water is up to this level, then computation of flood levels of Mutha River should start in reverse fashion from this point. And actually, the flood level of Mutha River will be like this. So now you tell me how many bridges and how many houses will be submerged. This is a difference of 8.5, only because of error in calculation. Same thing about Mula River also. This is the point of Mula River confluence with Pavna. Mula River is flowing in this direction, meets Pavna, and then again the water climbs up and starts flowing down. This is a drawing directly from the portfolio. So the actual flood level will be like this. All these bridges will be submerged. So this water surface elevation, we have seen that Mula Mutha surface elevation is given as 546.65. If Mutha River water should flow, is expected to flow towards the confluence, it should be needs to be little above this level, say 10 centimeters above this, means 546.75 meters. But actually they have stated that the Mutha River water will be at 544.1 meters. Therefore, there will be a rise of minimum 2.65 meters. 546.65 minus 544.1. This is little intricate, but not very difficult. So there will be a rise by 2.65 meters in Mutha River. In addition to that, we have to accommodate that free catchment flow of 993 meters. As per our calculations, that is going to add to this by 2.5 meters. 1000 to max is not a small. So it is going to raise the level further by 2.5 meters, and this cumulative rise will be 5.15, means almost 17 feet than what is stated in their detailed project. What is communicated to the citizens of the city. It is definite, maybe here or there, doesn't matter, but it is going to cause huge rise in flood levels. Forget about the climate change. So, this is a river cross section they have given at DPR grade report page number 17. Okay, this is the original cross section of the river. This is the existing red line. This is the existing blue line. Red line is a flood level for a flood which may occur at the frequency of once in 100 years. And blue line is for a flood once in 25 years. So that occurs more frequently. So this is blue line and this is the red line. Okay, these are the existing flood levels, flood lines. Now they are going to construct embankments like this on both sides, concrete embankments, and these embankments will be filled with soil and concrete. So the basic width of the river, whatever it is, will be reduced to this. And they claim that the flood levels will recede. Red line will come down by 2 meters, even below original blue line. And blue line will go down by 3 meters. How can this happen? You are pinching the river, you are reducing the width of the river, and you claim that the flood levels will go down. I think we all have to step in now. It's enough. Here also, see the original, this is the original cross section of the river, the outer dotted area. They are going to reclaim the floodplains by dumping debris. The cross-sectional area of the flow of water is going to be reduced drastically, maybe by 40%, 50%, whatever it is. And the width will be reduced to this. Original width is this much. The proposed width is this. These artificial reclaimed land will be used for commercial, maybe for restaurants, school plazas, parking lots, and whatnot. That's our corporates. Here, there is another issue. There are 3 types of floods: coastal flood, fluvial flood, and fluvial flood. Coastal flood is out of question for us, but the flood caused by flowing water is called as fluvial flood, and flood caused because of stagnation of water, which also occurs in Pune, is called as fluvial flood. So, at many places, these embankments are much above the surrounding ground level. 10 feet, 15 feet, top of the embankment is above the surrounding ground level, as per their own drawings. Now, what will happen to the surface stormwater flow if there is an embankment and the water cannot enter into the river? What will happen? There will be huge stagnation here on both the banks, and right in the city, they have not addressed this. There could be another huge project of providing pumps of another few thousand crores rupees to pump this water into the river. And it is claimed by them that we are not changing the cross section of the river. See, the cross section of the river will in the city. In the city, it's going to be like this. So can you imagine a cross section of the river like this? This looks like a canal if the water is clean, and like a gutter if the water is clean. The width shown is 90 meters. Here it is 7 meters. And actually, the minimum water length of the river, of Mutha River in city is behind PMC building. This is PMC building. This is Tirak Bridge. And the width of the river is 150 meters as per Google dimensions. Now you are going to reduce the width from 150 to 90 meters. Why? To reclaim land, to commercialize that land. Forget about the flood levels. This reduction is more than around 35-40%. Even you see how shoddily this portfolio is. Just one example. This is the region Blue color is shown for water. Okay, blue color is shown for water. Now this is the cross section of the river. Now can you imagine water like this? This is given in the cross section. This is the way they have prepared the drawings, and our administration has approved it. Simple water remains at one level. I mean, this is a letter given by Municipal Commissioner in 2020 to the Chief Secretary Water Resources. Okay, what he has said, cross section of the river will be increased. Nadita Katshed Vadavun. We are going to increase the cross section of the river. That's what the commissioner has, which is a blatant crime. He has written this to the Chief Secretary Irrigation. Is it not criminal? In 2020, I have a copy of this letter. What are the Indian standards? They always boast, they beat drums that we are following all standards for this project. Now, Indian standards, guidelines for planning and design of river embankments. They are planning to construct embankments throughout the length of the river. 44 kilometers is the length of this project, and 2 banks means 88 kilometers. So there will be embankments of 88 kilometers. What Indian standards say? Alignment and spacing of embankments. Embankments should be aligned on the ridge of the natural banks of the river. On the ridge of the natural banks, not below that, on the ridge where land is high. So they have clearly said that you cannot construct the embankments on the riverbed. This is completely being flouted in this project. Flouted. Now, what is the correspondence from Water Resources Department and CWPR? Water in 2018, Water Resources Department wrote to corporation that floodline maps are handed over to PMC in 2010 and 2011. They handed over the floodline maps. As these discharges and floodlines are final, there is no question of approval to any other report prepared by any private organization, means consultants of this project, and checked by CWPR. PMC says that this report is checked and verified by CWPR. But Water Resources Department says that there is no question. We are not going to check anything. Whatever we have given to you in 2010 and 11 is final. In 2019, they said that no change is permissible in the flood data and flood lines finalized earlier by Water Resources. While implementing the RFD project, care should be taken that flood carrying area, that is cross section of the river, is not reduced. Cross section of the river, that saucer shaped cross section, should not be reduced. In 21, they have again written, this is the third letter, the flood discharges and flood lines given to PMC in 2010 and 11 are final. We have observed variations between these and the reports prepared by private organization and checked by CWPR. So, Water Resources Department has observed some variation in the data provided to CWPR. We don't know what was the data provided to CWPR. And in further on 20th October 21, they have written a very interesting letter. The letter says there should be no impediment to the flow of river. Carrying capacity of the river should not be reduced. There should be no change in the cross section of the river, no change at all. Chief Engineer, of course, of Water Resources, is authorized to take action against construction that causes impediment to the flow of water. PMC shall be responsible. PMC shall be responsible for possible floods and loss of life and property. What else will be? So they have indicated that there will be floods because of this project. PMC shall be responsible for any further litigation in this context. So they have washed their hands. They cannot actually, But Water Resources Department has put the entire responsibility on PMs. Now, PNC claims that they have the approval from CWPRS, Central Works for what is the law? Yeah, sorry. So CWPRS is a very well-known organization, only in Pune. So they have PMC claims that CWPRS has approved the project. But in that letter, what CWPRS stated that in light of above fact, CWPRS clears the report on hydrology and hydrology of Mula Mota as regards RFD project. They had cleared the report, and now you remember what that irrigation department letter says, that there is some variation. What is that variation? We do not know. Maybe because of that variation, CWPRS has approved this report. They have not cleared the project. They have approved the report only. And when we asked under RPI to CWPRS, with what study have you cleared this report? We asked CWPRS. So CWPRS responded that CWPRS did not conduct any study for RFD of PMC. This is in 5th of April 2021. So CWPRS did not conduct any study of riverfront development of PMC. CWPRS is not the clearing authority in the matter. This letter is there with me, but this is never communicated to us during so far public consultation. Now, illegal and flawed environmental clearance. This environmental clearance is issued by central government, MOEF and CC. They have state-wise committees. Those committees, SEAC, State Environment Impact Assessment Committee. State Environment Assessment Committee, and there is a State Environment Impact Assessment, SEAC and SEA. You have to first submit your project report to SEAC. SEAC gives you terms of reference, how the EI is to be prepared. According to the TORs, you have to prepare the EI, file it back to SEAC. SEAC scrutinizes it, and if they find it correct, they recommend it to SEA, and depending upon their recommendation, SEA issues the environmental clearance. So that is the procedure. Now, first issue is appraisal of barrages. There are going to be 4 barrages in these rivers. They are going to modify the barrage which is at Gurudas, and 3 new barrages are going to be constructed. One near Garware College, one on Bukha River, and one near Gurudas. So 3 new barrages are going to be constructed to store water in the river. On 10th of August, these TORs were issued. In these TORs, point number 24 clearly says that the impacts of impounding the rivers through the construction of barrages shall be studied in detail and presented. So it is the responsibility of the project proponent, that is PMC, to study the impacts of these barrages, and barrages means small dams, just like Badgar. Yeah. That's a small dam, which has low sill level. So they have clearly said that PNC has to assess the impacts of construction of these barrages and submit it in details to CI. Okay. In spite of that, PNC did not conduct any study for these barrages. As per their original estimated cost, the cost of these barrages was something 250 crores. Now it will be definitely more than 500, 600 crores. It's a very important component of this entire project. But they did not conduct any study of these barrages for responding to water. In spite of that, actually, when that particular, it is mentioned in the TOR that you have to conduct that study, and they have not conducted the study, environmental clearance should have been rejected. Absolutely. But the EC was given to this project And while giving the EC, it's a very slippery EC. They have mentioned that PP inform, project proponent inform that there are 4 barrages to be constructed at following places A, B, C, D. As the committee has no expert working in this field, this committee, CR, as the committee has no expert working in this field, the committee has not gone into this aspect. Proper appraisal from proper authority in this regard is possible. What is this? You are a committee appointed only to issue, only to study such project, and you don't have expertise to evaluate the impact of these small barrages. You can study the impact of huge dams. Dams also need EC, but you cannot study these barrages. This is not acceptable at all. This is absolutely false. Further, they have said they have put the responsibility on the shoulders of PMC. ये आप करवा लो. You have to conduct that study, of course, before you commence the project. As of now, one order is also given for construction only. So till date, PMC has not conducted any appraisal of the projects. We filed an RTI application asking for whether PMC has conducted cumulative and or independent EIA and EMP, environmental management plan, for the existing barrages and the barrages proposed in the riverfront development. If prepared EIA report of the same, we asked for it under RTI. It's more than 10 months. We have not received any reply from it. It's more than 10 months. Second point is built area in the project. Built area, there are 2 types of built area. One is FSI and the other one is non-FSI. FSI means wherever there is roof. And non-FSI means any construction, any type of construction which is completely open to sky, like parking lots or pathways, whatever. It is open to sky. So FSI and non-FSI. So the information provided for this clearance, FSI area 0 square meters, non-FSI 0 square meters. Therefore, total built-up area 0 square meters. Can you imagine we are spending 5,000 crore rupees for 0 square meters? Then what for? They are clearly asked proposed built-up area FSI and non-FSI. So it is 0 square meters. Actually, when we studied the detailed estimate of the project, you can't believe 22.5 lakh square meters, not square feet, square meters. 1 square meter is 10.764 square feet. So 22.5 lakh square meters is the built area in this project. That is on conservative. That amounts to 556 acres. Such a huge built area is there in the project. And for environmental clearance, it is mentioned as 0 square meters. That table is not prepared by us. It's directly copy paste from the minutes of CR meetings. The retaining walls, RCC slabs, no need to mention about barrages, pitching, stairs, ramps, toilet blocks, food courts, and whatnot. This is only the small part of their estimate. See this lower level pitching and toe wall, 2,83,800 square meters. Mid level pitching, 1,05,000 square meters. So huge quantities, huge. Now existing structures. It was asked what are the existing structures within the boundary of this project. There are no existing structures. It's a 44-kilometer long rivers flowing through the heart of the city. There are so many temples, samadhis, ghats, dargahs, some walls. There are so many structures existing in the riverfront along both the banks. But they have stated that there are no existing structures. In their DPR, somewhere they have mentioned that minimum 20 plus bridges are there. Pune cannot survive without bridges. There are so many bridges. When you stand on one bridge, you can see over another bridge on both sides. So many bridges are there, check dams, piers, temples, even slum pockets are there. But for environmental clearance, there is no existing structure. This is the list of heritage structures from corporation website only, which are allowed. Now, fourth point is demolition. It was asked, give us the details of demolition along with your plans regarding disposal of debris. Because when you demolish anything, debris are generated. So how you are going to manage that? So they said that there will be coding. Actually, as I told you right in the beginning, 4 bridges are going to be demolished. That 3 kilometers long road is going to be demolished. There are so many walls, even small buildings also are going to be demolished. They have provided some 20-25 crore rupees as a lump sum amount just for demolition. 20-25 crore. As per earlier, only for demolition. Fifth point is regarding deepening of the rivers. During discussion, it's mentioned in the minutes, during discussion, project proponent informed that no activity pertaining to deepening of river will be undertaken as a part of this. So PMC has told them that we are not going to deepen the river anywhere. Deepening of the river causes huge problems. That another issue we can discuss it later. But PMC told them that we are not going to deepen the river. But again, we go back to the drawing portfolio. This is one section. See, in purple color, earth cutting, and here throughout the width of the river, they have provided minimum. This is minimum 2 meters of earth cutting. Why? This is deepening. Now, if you deepen the river, you cannot deepen the river from beginning to the end. There are so many bridges. You cannot deepen the river below the bridge. You cannot expose the foundation of the bridges. The bridges will collapse. So, if at all you deepen, that deepening will be between 2 bridges. It will cause only ponding it. Because below the bridge, you have to retain the original level of the river. So then why have you provided this deepening? Not only this, see this is minimum some 20-25 feet deepening here. So on one hand, you show that you commit that we are not going to deepen the river, but actually you plan to deepen the river. So these are the 5 huge flaws in the environmental clearance. I don't know on what grounds the EC was accorded to this. This is the way they are going to construct concrete embankments in the city like this. So this is the original bank, original profile of the riverbed, and these are the concrete embankments. There will be manicured artificial gardens over here. There are so many aquifers. Gurudas will tell you in details, but all these aquifers, some aquifers discharge water in the river. Some aquifers get recharged because of the river. They take water to the wells and bore wells. All these aquifers, all these recharge and discharge zones will be come from the main natural flow of the river because of this impact. This is definitely going to affect the groundwater. Perpetual. This will be irreversible damage. Then, as I told you, floodlines have been shifted to accommodate this problem. These are the floodline maps. This is only one example I am giving you. These are the floodlines issued by Irrigation Department in 2011. These are the original floodlines. This is the Z bridge. It's a very well-known bridge in the city. This is the Z bridge. This is Deccan Gymkhana side. This is for city Narayanpet. Now see, these floodlines are quite away from this leg of Z bridge, which is parallel to the flow of river. This distance is around 60, 70, 80 meters. These floodlines are almost on this road. Okay, these are the original floodline maps given in 2011. After that, state government irrigation department, I forgot to translate this part into English. State government came up with a circular that they have clearly stated that only chief engineer of irrigation department can approve these floodline maps. Only chief engineer. That authority cannot be delegated to anyone below that level of chief engineer. This was given in 2015. Later on, another circular came. The marking on maps and on ground shall be cross-checked by ground truth verification. It should be cross-checked. And after verification, regional chief engineer shall sanction the maps. So it was reiterated by state government, by water resources department, that only chief engineer can prepare and approve the floodline maps. In spite of these directions, in 2016, after this, one executive engineer prepared the floodline map and handed it over to PMC. These are totally fraudulent floodlines. And it was a big case, and some PMC officials and this particular executive engineer of irrigation department, they were hand in glove with each other. Very efficiently, PMC officers forwarded those fraudulent flood maps to state government to incorporate into the development. And whatever floodlines we see in today's development plan are completely fraudulent, illegal. They don't have approval from chief engineer as directed by state government. Now these are the fraudulent floodlines. This is the same lake of Z bridge. Earlier the floodlines were here. This is Jamli Maharaj. Earlier the floodlines were here. Now the floodlines are shifted inside. We worked it out on AutoCAD and we superimposed both the sets of floodlines, old and new, on AutoCAD and found out that red line is shifted by 81 meters. Blue line is shifted by 65 meters. This shifting is different at different locations. Here it is 37 and 36 meters. These are huge distances. 100 feet is 30 meters. Can you imagine 81 meters? Almost 250. And PLC officials have started giving permissions in these areas. Not only here, but everywhere along the river banks. On floodplains, they have started giving building permission. I'll come to that. We asked irrigation department whether have you approved, we asked the chief engineer under RTI, have you given approval to these floodline maps? We got a very clear answer that such approval letter is not available in this. This is from the office of the irrigation department. They have not approved the floodline, which are forwarded to PMC by their own official. Now we have filed one PI in Mumbai Highway against this illegal shifting of floodlines in DP map. But when we brought it to the notice of irrigation department that PMC is following this wrong set of floodline, they immediately wrote a letter to PMC that you have to cancel these recent floodlines and you have to follow the 2011 floodline maps which we have given earlier. But PMC is not following it. Even after this letter issued in 2020, PMC has given many building permissions on floodplains. One of the buildings is 16 stories with 4 basements on the floodplains. And see, the people who have booked flats in such buildings are middle class people. They are not aware of these floodlines and climate change and dam discharge and decatchment area flow. They just see PMC in a building permission they do. That's all. And they book the flats. Even banks give them loans. What will happen to those people? I have seen such buildings. In our EIL, which we have filed in High Court, even state government lawyer, we had a small informal discussion with him. He saw all the documents. And state government lawyer accepted that there is substance in ours. Clearly stated before the judges that there is substance in this case and we are ready to change the development plan maps and incorporate the original plan. But PMC is not interested. State government is interested. PMC is not interested. In state government affidavit filed before High Court, they have stated that state government, after consulting the director of TP Maharashtra State Pune, will take decision regarding the modification proposal on merits. So they have clearly given an explanation that we are ready to change the meeting. But our corporation is not ready. Funding by monetizing river lands. Again, this is directly from the DPR. They are clearly stated in the DPR project financing alternatives for revenue generation. Four alternative mechanisms are identified to evaluate the feasibility of financing the entire project. These are one, availability of land within floodlines. I mean, how can you monetize the land inside floodlines? This is proposed by the consultant, monetize the land inside floodlines because they are going to reclaim the land. So that is why they are to monetize, they are going to reclaim the floodplains. Availability of government owned land for revenue generation. There are around 182 acres of government land on both banks of the river, maybe owned by different departments. So in their DPR, they have clearly stated that development rights of these government lands can be given to private developers to monetize this product. To support this, allow changes in restrictive zones. All the prohibitive zones, restrictive zones which are identified by irrigation department, it should be checked. Those zones should be checked on both the banks. In one of our case, filed in 2013, National Green Tribunal, PMC Commissioner has actually filed an affidavit. The affidavit says that respondent number one, that is PMC, undertakes not to permit in future any building construction activities within the pool. So this was a clear-cut statement by the PMC Commissioner that we will not construct anything in pool. This project is nothing but construction of environments completely inside the pool. So, in short, just to summarize, what are the impacts of Pune riverfront zoning? Rivers will remain highly polluted, traffic disruption, air pollution, climate change not considered, steep rise in flood levels, destruction of biodiversity, water resources department directions are not followed, completely flawed environmental clearance, floodlines have been shifted illegally, monetization of river land and public resources. These are the impacts and violation of commissioner's act. Yes, many people say that we don't want the rivers to improve. Many people say like that. We all definitely want our rivers in much better condition. These are some of the worst stretches in the country, highly polluted stretches in the country. We want our rivers to be rejuvenated, but not by concretization and construction like this. We want the rivers to be rejuvenated by ecology. See, in this entire presentation, we have not raised any objection on those 5,000 crores. We have raised objections only on what we are getting in this way for 5,000 crores. We want beautiful rivers considering flow from free catch without altering the cross section. We want clean rivers. Before that, we want safe, free of floods. These are some of the citizens, not only Pune citizens, some from far away also. They are chain asking to protect Pune rivers against this project. I'll just show you some important data. Just 2 minutes. This project consultant had conducted survey with the citizens of Pune And this is the feedback they have received. 91% people said that water quality should be improved. 89% said that there should be natural flow of water. 86% said that it should be ecological restoration. 76% said that there should be floods. And this project doesn't satisfy any of these demands of the citizens who are going to pay for this. Not a single demand is set. Now, it is stated that this project is completely based on Sabarmati River. Consultant is saying Vimal Patel, HCP, or private limited, something like that. He is a consultant for Central Without. He is the consultant for that Banaras Ghat also. So corporation says that इतना बड़ा consultant आके अपने काम पे रिवर्स पे काम कर रहा है. He is obliging us. Padmashri, sorry, Padmashri. So we should be proud of. But actually, what is the situation at Sabarmati? I'll show you some photographs. See, Sabarmati cannot be equated with Gurudas. Sabarmati has an immediate dam 130 kilometers from the upstream, 130 kilometers. We have the first dam at 7 kilometers. The rainfall in that area that is pretty arid than Nulkar. The rainfall over there at here is vast difference. It cannot be equated with Pune rivers. So this is the condition of that riverfront development after Sabarmati got built. We are going to pay 5,000 crore rupees. See, the width of Sabarmati is minimum 250-300 meters. Here the river width is going to be reduced to 90 meters. Now this is Hyacinth. Sabarmati water doesn't flow. I don't know why they call it as a river. If the water doesn't flow, it is just bathtub. You said it's bathtub. I mean, it's not even worth bathing, but it's stagnant water. Sabarmati doesn't have its own water. The water is given by Narmada canal. So Sabarmati doesn't flow. It doesn't have its own water. Still, it is called as river. This is the Hyacinth in Sabarmati. These are Google images. This is just near Sabarmati Ashram. Sabarmati Ashram is here. See, this is 21. Yeah. 18th October 21. So this is the state of Sabarmati river, and maybe if we don't resist, it will be worse than this. So, thank you so much for your great question. That is Vadodara. That is Vadodara. Vishwamitra River. Vishwamitra River, the same similar project was proposed, but those people stopped it.
See, what we have to do is, all of us have to get together and fight them.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. How I happen.
Please, let's
There's another person going.
Just 5 minutes.
Gurudas, we have we'll finish this off very fast. Gurudas, Nulkar will speak on ecological and that's be giving a short presentation on that. There are okay, I just want to speak to us about that. It's very short. And thereafter, we have the question and answers and issues. Concerning us specifically, of course, as you mentioned, the world orders have an issue And one of the work orders, first work order is issued for our area. Sangamgadi, I think, to Bangarden. So if you is looking near the river, you're going to swim in it very soon.
Okay. Yeah. So. I just need 5 more minutes. Stupid question. How can corporation go against the city? I just want to add one more point in your entire observation. Most importantly, what probably Sarang did not mention is, this is continuously being compared with the Sabarmati. The Sabarmati is a completely different river with a completely different personality. It originates in the Aravallis. Our rivers originate in the Sahyadris. Sahyadris receive 6,000 mm of rainfall in a short span of about 25 to 30 days. Aravallis do not have an average rainfall of more than 900 mm. The Aravalli, the river flows from Aravalli into the Gulf of Khambat. It's an east-flowing river. The topography of Indian plate is completely different when it flows towards the east. The topography of Indian plate is totally different when it flows into the Bay of Bengal. So now we are talking about 6,000 millimeters of rainfall following even Sahyadris. Assume the Sahyadris are a mountain, that means they are a water divide. So assuming 3,000 mm goes to drains out into the Arabian Sea via Neckar and Kandari, Savitri rivers, 3,000 mm is going to come into the Krishna Godavari basin, and which is the upper Bhima basin that we are in. So we are talking about 3,000 mm of rainfall in the Sahyadris, plus around 700 mm of rainfall in the pre-catchment, which is not considered in that. The second most important thing which I want to tell you is this. The entire project talks about river rejuvenation, right? And in the vision, in the objectives, in the scope, nowhere is the word riverine ecosystem mentioned at all. Nowhere in the scope is it mentioned about biodiversity, aquatic life, vegetation, floating vegetation, crustaceans, mollusks, none of that. Are they important to you and me? Most certainly they are important to you and me. What is the reason? A river is not a flow of water from point A to point B. A river is a flow of energy. A river is an ecosystem. What do I mean by an ecosystem? Ecosystem has two components. It has got physical entities and it has got biological entities. Now, in entire ecosystem, there is continuous exchange of matter and energy between physical elements and the biological elements. This happens via the natural route of the interface between the water and the land, which is the riparian zone, which is the bank. On the 44 kilometers, we are not leaving one iota of soil. It is entirely going to be converted into a concrete embankment. What does it do? It does two very important things. First, is it does not allow the riverine ecosystem to have a natural resilience towards floods. And the second thing which it does is does not allow any exchange between matter and energy of the physical elements and the biological elements. When that does not happen, the river will not get any kind of aquatic life, no aquatic vegetation, no exchange of matter and energy between that. Now, when this stops, and the 4 barrages are going to stop that in a much aggravated manner. So when this stops, the most important ecological service of the river, which is self-purification, is completely lost forever. We already do not have a river, we have a sewage, and now we have a concrete embankment, we have a concrete coffin for the river. It's going to be permanently dead. It's not going to be a river, it's going to be a concrete beautification, and it's not going to harbor any of the ecological services. The third point which Sarang mentioned, which I want to mention here, is once you concretize all the banks and you put beautiful landscape gardens and vegetation which they have called riparian. Now we looked at the DPR. Many of the vegetation species which we are talking about are not at all riparian vegetation. We have Vadus, we have Arjun, we have Sita Ashok, we have Jamun, we have Umbar. All of these are actual habitats, specific trees along the downhill of Sahyadri. None of these are even talked about. So we are not going to plant any of the species which are there in the riparian habitat, which means they do not have the holding power of the soil, they do not have the resilience of improving the percolation, so on and so forth. The fourth important point, which again Sarang mentioned, is after the concrete embankments are constructed, in Pune, we are almost converting the entire city into hardscape. There is no soil there. If you look around here, do you see any soil anywhere? So entire rainfall which is falling is going to be run off. There is no percolation which is going to happen. On the concrete banks, even today there is percolation which is happening. Now, if we are going to stop that percolation, we will completely destroy the natural percolation capacity of the rivers, the hyporheic zone flow. All that is going to get completely nullified. And for what? For because we want it to look beautiful like the Seine. The entire development plan of HP Consultants has got beautiful photographs of the Seine River. Now, Seine River is a perennial river. It is the average temperature of Paris is completely different from the average temperature of Pune city. Sabarmati, if you walk on the Sabarmati cement concrete banks in the evening, Ahmedabad gets as hot as 44, 45 degrees centigrade. The rivers are wind corridors. In Pune, also the rivers are wind corridors. If you stand on the river today, it will be at least 1.5 degrees lower temperature than downtown. So, when you concretize the banks, throughout the day, the concrete is going to absorb the heat, and in the evening, when the surface temperature is lower, the heat will flow from higher temperature to lower temperature. We won't be able to walk there. It will be like afternoon. Now, this is so stupid. I mean, you don't need a reference, you don't need a citation, you don't need a research paper for that. We all know that heat flows from higher temperature to lower temperature. This is going to happen to today. So we are going to lose on the percolation ability, we are going to lose on the self-purification ability, we are going to lose on the ecosystem services, and we are going to have a higher increased temperature. We are not talking about the birds and the bees and the butterflies as the media has made out to be. It's not about aquatic life, but it's about the resilience of the river. It's about the ecosystem and what it does to the citizens who are living around that. So that's it. I just wanted to say that. I hope I've not exceeded my speech.
Thanks, Gurudas.
So everybody had one joke. The river now is already converted to the idea that the site of riverfront is absolutely ridiculous. Pointing out additional points, like many of you might like to stress, are already known to us or said to us. Now, the issue what Anwanda is trying to tell me is that what is the action step that we have this meeting, we all are converted already or will be converted now. Now the issue is what are we going to do about it? So let me know what we should be doing, please.
Congratulate you for excellent presentation and deeply informative, and of course very passionate on the but the main question is, it's a deeply flawed detail. It's a fraud on the market. Okay. Why is it going on? What are the causes that are right? You have hinted on some of it in terms of non-action plan. You have hinted on some of it in Sabarmati, Banaras, so on. You have nothing to do with that. I don't know how to experience. That is what we can do. And what is the issue? I mean, in principle,
So exactly the issue here right now is
is there some kind of political movement in India? Because I do not want to be us here. You have to speak who are going to be planted. And the journey was
basically, there are three verticals. One is legal vertical. The legal vertical, we already had provided the national tree tribunal against the environmental clearance issue in this topic. They have filed that case in 2020, but NGT is in orders. Many judges working with the NGT retired, and there is no appointment of new by central government. Central government practically doesn't want NGT to survive. That is the fact. we even requested that please give us, hear us out, taking that principle, it doesn't matter. But hear us out and give us your judgment on this project. But they are not just hearing for the last more than that 1.5 years. And that is the status of judiciary in our country. We are planning to move Supreme Court now for early hearing by NGT. We know what NGT is going to decide because as of now, I should not say, but NGT is going to give us judgment against us. That's what we expect. In the given circumstances, the situation, it is like that. NGT comes and central. Current government, as far as I am coming to that, we have had detailed discussion with Vandana on this project. I even discussed this with Aditya, who is the environment minister of Maharashtra. Then we approached Sharad Pawar for it. See, please don't take it as a political, not at all. We are not interested in any politics. Whosoever who supports the river, who wants to protect the rivers, we want them to be with us and we are with them.
So eventually the decision has to be taken by the executive.
Yeah.
Immediately has to be put in. That's
So we, Sharad Pawar immediately told us that it's already late and we have to very quickly. So in the meeting itself, we organized next meeting after 3-4 days in Mumbai with Aditya Thackeray, with Jayant Patil, with the Minister of Infrastructure, and PMC Commissioner, their consultant team of their consultants, and secretaries, Metzger and all those secretaries, chief secretaries of UBD, urban development and water resources and environment, all those. So we had a big meeting over there. I presented only proponent presented their project. We as project opponent present our presentation. Even Jayant Patil was shocked to learn that floodlights have been shifted. So they told us that we will have an independent meeting with the office of Chief Engineer Water Resources in Pune. So immediately after 4 days after that, on 16th of March, we had a meeting in Chief Engineer's office. PLC, some several guys from their consultant PLC officers were there. We were there. So that meeting went on for 6 hours. And in that meeting, we raised all these questions before PMC officials. They said that ये तो बहुत मामूली सवाल है, it's a मामूली issue, and we will provide you the scientific answers within less than 1 week. They promised it on 16th of March. Today is 10th of April. We haven't heard a single word.
What is the chief engineer?
Chief engineer in that meeting issued an order that till scientific explanation to these questions, these issues is not provided by project proponent, they will not start actual construction of this.
you say that we should work orders. What is problem?
PMC issued the work orders. That was
The details are already put out to the officers. And they will take the whole time. The question is, what means communication? That this is not going to be work with communication.
sorry, I do not understand your question.
You are in the work, I mean, you are okay, I'm not giving you advice.
But not all.
They officers are doing details and now, that's all the right now bus. They can't understand. They don't watch it, they watch it bus. Indicate, I mean, better to that, it's something one. Basically, right below the political, around it, it's all I have to do.
So, we're here not to just hear Sarang. This has been going on for years. He's done the NGT. There's no point advising what he should be doing. I'm asking people, what will you do? As a public living here, what action plan do you suggest we are going to do tomorrow?
So he is asking.
No, I'm asking, I'm asking.
But what government and we do going for us to the road and doing stop the bulldozers? No, this is not what we should.
Stop saying we drive.
Initially, force of spread, see, it is not only one step, it's a long path for us. First of all, we all have to come together. We all have to locality, start discussing on it, share the thoughts, I will provide the analysis of this project, share between other residents, form a group, start generating pressure on your corporators, start generating pressure on politicians.
I'm sorry, just one second, Please.
Just one second. Raise your hand who has any hand.
There are elderly people. We don't have young people here. Is it possible for us to go and give this presentation in the schools or colleges and have a youth supporting us?
The issue here is very simple and means stress. Now this presentation in colleges, yes. What are we, let us recognize, okay, we are senior citizens. What are we going to do tomorrow morning about this?
I will go to judge.
Now, if you are saying, make a presentation to the colleges, are you personally, anybody here personally willing to have contact and go to these colleges in our neighborhood? You know, to have
Somebody like
First simple thing that all of you can do, write letters to the commissioner, to the environment minister, to the chief minister, to the chief engineer, irrigation, even to prime minister. Immediately write letters to them. Yeah.
exactly.
We will provide you with that.
So we will get a draft from them.
We'll
They
provide
will
you.
come to us in 3-4 days. There will be a bullet point draft, which we will give to you. You will get signatures done in your societies and politics and from the voter and your son.
Okay.
Get them involved.
That's a very good idea.
Please, there's another thing I have also.
This is not a suggestion. I think what you say, I think all the societies should put up a board, okay? Because elections are coming. And we say that we are against the government represented, MLA and our cooperator, we will not vote with them unless they. Reasons for barricade in the discussion.
Agree, but that first issue here is you have to convert the rest of the people in your society.
I think we can.
Yes.
We'll provide you the text
So
of the
what
matter.
we will do is we will provide you a text or banner. You know, we should not say we are not against the RFD. We want to keep them beautiful river, but we don't want it to make that you are protected in the RFD. So we are saying that we don't want it. To still spend money on it. It's not in a banner, banner for protecting.
It's certainly gathering the money.
One minute, please, other people should have a chance to see your person.
One
Please.
second, I'm going to take it. Just raise your hand and I'll give it to you. I think I should like to conference. And begin by trying to explain. I'm trying to answer my husband's question. Clarified in my mind what is law, how exactly this is done. I agree with you that three verticals. There is a legal which covers there is the political, which many people are also pursuing, and then there is the getting to the public. Also, my solution would be to bring all these three on the same level. That is what it is. And we follow the river opposite to this project for quite some time now. And what I find very, very distressing is that the public itself, the various NGOs who are active, are not speaking in one town, because each one has a little bit of thing. Someone has one idea, someone has another idea. The conservation is similar. We have some are more on the butterfly side, some are more on the bird side. What I would like to propose is how to bring the three of them together. I can't mention what happened by a public meeting like this, but I'm
Okay,
I think the time is over for you. Ground clear. What you are saying, You don't have the type of ground strength data. It's necessary to get it done. Let the ground strength come up. Ground strength has to come, not an issue.
One second.
Yeah.
1 second. Jared.
I just wanted to say that so much of writing, so much of dialogue, is very divided. Why can't we just why can't we just bring up the state of this project? That would be the fastest way. And then we get the media involved, we get more public involved, we spread out in Pune. We do this everywhere.
I don't know, in a way, we are already issue partnership engineering. Yeah, when we are holding national green development, orange to free food, we already have made for this way. Not only this way, but we also have requested to scrap this one.
Yeah.
So how did that? I can.
Just 1 second.
1 second.
That's the age, I can ask you.
Hi. So, I'm of the younger generation. If you want first I think we need to form a place where you put your money where your mouth is first. You only contribute to a certain fund and have a social media push. It's the only way you will be able to reach. That's the only place left for us to fight out. Okay. This has, from what I can hear, the environmental clearance was given. This requires some serious money behind it. If you follow the money, you will find there has to be someone really making money from this. A lot. We are not making any money. We are putting money in itself. A diaspora of people. It's very difficult for us to come together under one voice.
I got it. As you made a major point that going forward, to create a groundswell, the social media is the prime mover perhaps.
One more thing. I would like to make a small film so you don't have to be present every time. Okay. Remember, this is a really technical subject. The younger generation requires shorter, punchier subject. So I can sit with you. I have the hardware and the infrastructure to make a film so that it's easier.
From tomorrow, because I'm going to go to the bed. I'm really we should do this actually. Okay, yeah, we want to finish this one. Or we have already done that. But 1 second, there's one lady here. We are more interested in the solution rather than the issue.
Yeah. Guys,
Sorry.
that Baroda managed to receive their function.
Correct. Exactly. They were luckier than us. The commissioner at Gurudas Municipal Corporation over there was in favor of these NGOs. That is the most important thing. And another very important success is that there are crocodiles in Vashishkiri. So that is a very, very sensitive issue. Sorry, Vishwamitri. Sorry. So in Vishwamitri river, there are crocodiles. And so it's a very sensitive issue. And with riverfront development, these crocodiles will not survive in concrete. So these crocodiles. They have to be. But our water is so dirty.
Just get some. One second. Yeah, we can get the item.
We're going to walk out here. You've been asking us what we should be doing. I want to shift it back on to you to provide us a forum into which we can connect and then begin to address the issue in a multi-direction.
So, this evening, I'll be starting about regarding anti RFD or whatever you want to call it. Here, and not just advise solutions, but participate in the solution. So, be active on the field. Who are going to go into politics or organize meetings in their society
to begin with. And there's some daughter in this aspect, because they are the prime movers going forward. Anyone else has better ideas of the handle? Right? What's the building name?
What's your name?
What's your name?
Giri. Okay, Giri.
Okay. Okay. So, Guru is going to be one of the major guys going forward. If anybody else wants to be involved actively, please contact me.
We have a hand up there.
Yeah, I got it.
There is already a WhatsApp group by the name of Concerned Nulkar. And every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, there is a webinar. For so many Tuesdays, this is being conducted. And RFD is the topic there. So if you have suggestions, please join that group and join the Zoom meeting that happens.
We will go to the
In person, the group, but I'm more keen to know how many guys living in the club actually not only concerned, but are concerned about it. So please, therefore, contact me. We have a local group connecting it to them into the connected.
Can I ask one question? So,
Yeah, because we have to go to Delhi so many times. We have to appoint lawyers, a lot of research is involved in this. A lot of so many RTI applications, follow up of it. No, I don't have any account. I don't take any money. If at all someone wants to donate,
Giri has one question.
We can grab that to Chilean, which is a registered entity.
for legal purpose, we are receiving money at Parisar and Intact. Indian National Trust.
So if you share the details with that, we will put it on.
Sorry, practically more than. Many times I started working at 2 years. Because that is the most peaceful
Meeting,